if we're turned off by the direction the transfer portal and NIL have taken the sport. Am I turned off by it? I can't lie to you, Beth. Yeah, I am in some ways. I don't like how relationships don't mean as much anymore. And I'm going to get flack about this because I always do. And it's not that I care about it. I just want to state sometimes, I know what you're going to say before you say it. So when I tell you my feelings on this, I'm not anti-player. I'm not against guys getting money. I do not think it's been done like this forever. That's one of the familiar refrains. Oh, it's always been done. Now it's just legal. No. What's happening in college football right now has not always been done. And what you're about to see after this regular season, when a large swath of this sport simultaneously enters the portal, you will no longer be able to look at me and say, oh, it always happened. Now, you want to tell me cash changed hands from time to time? You want to tell me money sometimes influenced a kid's decision? And you want to tell me that it was done illegally? I'm a realist. I understand. I probably know more stories than you do about that. Nothing on par with the current state of this sport had always happened. Not even remotely in the same galaxy of what's happening right now has always happened. So you can save that. And no, while I'm on this subject, coaches don't get away with doing the same thing. Coaches do not move every year penalty-free. Coaches have contracts. The fact is most of them don't move every year. And if they do, there's a penalty to be paid. There is what is called a buyout in a contract. Okay, so they are locked into a school, and if they want to go somewhere else, someone is going to pay that school because a buyout has to be paid. Players aren't under that kind of structure. The response to that is, yeah, they're not employees. Well, I think there's coming a day where we probably find a little happy middle ground there. But that's down the road. I just wanted to acknowledge, before you even go down those roads, before you even start white knighting for what you don't even understand, I already know. I can make your argument for you better than you can, and then silence it. So save me on that. Let's move on. No, I don't necessarily love it, Beth. I'm not a huge fan of what's happening with the portal. I'm not a huge fan of knowing that as soon as we end this regular season, thousands, I am not hyperbolic there, by the way, thousands of players are about to be in the transfer portal. And a lot of them are not moving for what I personally would call the right reasons. Everybody can have their own reasons. Kids are totally free. It's their life. It's not my life. But when I said the relationship aspect, it used to be, not too long ago, that recruiting and development went hand in hand with the relationship aspect between coaching staff, coach, and not only player, but family. In an ideal world, that's the way the structure worked. And that's really out the window. It is very much a bottom line, here's what I can get elsewhere. Can you offer me that? If you can't, I'm gone. And the thing about it is what is attracting you to another location has nothing to do with relationships at all. I'm not bemoaning this from a dollars and cents standpoint. I told you the other day, I'm not under an illusion here. I know that this is the peak earnings period for most of these kids in their life. They are in a position right now, because most of them won't play pro football. So most of them are in a position right now that they'll never be the rest of their life. Because fact of the matter is, it's really hard to elevate yourself in any society to where you warrant six-figure or maybe seven-figure consideration. It's just hard to do. There are not very many jobs out there that pay that. And it's hard to get you one of them. And so you got one right now. They don't call it a job, but it's a job. And if you want to go make as much as you can, I understand it. I don't ever blame kids because the kids are not the one who made the structure. Not bending on revenue sharing 10, 15 years ago is what made this, truth be told. But I think ultimately, whether it's the transfer portal or whether it's NIL, ultimately, if you want anything fixed, if you want things reined in, as I've told you before, Beth, and I'll say it again, this is not falling on the NCAA. They're powerless anyway to stop this, but it's not falling on the NCAA. If this ever is reined in and there's more structure inserted, I've told you two things I think have to happen. Number one, conferences have to step up and understand they've got more authority than the NCAA ever has in this matter. And number two, and this is just the way I see it, there is no world where you're entering into these multi-billion-dollar media rights deals and going to convince anyone players don't deserve a chunk of that. In the world we're in now especially. Like if you want structure, if you want guys to agree to a minimum of 2 years or whatnot, in other words, if you don't want it to be the Wild Wild West, you can't have that massive bag of cash over here that you're making because of them playing on Saturday and say, no, that's ours. Well, okay. Then what they're going to say come transfer portal season is, I'm going to go get mine. If you're not going to give me some of yours, I'm going to go get mine. So if you want a little trade-off, in another world this will be called collective bargaining. We can't use that term for obvious reasons, but there is coming a day, I believe, where conferences face the reality that we got all of this excess over here in the way of media rights money. Revenue sharing would probably solve a lot of this because you can guarantee a kid more through revenue sharing than 95% of them could ever hope to attain through NIL. The Bryce Youngs, the CJ Strouds, those are aliens, those are different. But 95+% of rosters are kids that right now could be enticed by 10 or 15 grand. And if you distribute that media rights revenue properly, 10 or 15 grand is no longer going to be enough to allure a kid because they're getting more than that just because of the conference they play in. That is your answer. If you really want to rein it in and you really want kids to work together with you, work together with them. I don't speak as if this is utopian, but it is realistic. And you didn't go down this road 10 or 15 years ago when you had the opportunity. And so here you are. You held on to every penny. Instead of giving up a little bit, you were penny wise and pound foolish. Shannon Terry used to always say that around here. Do not be penny wise and pound foolish. It's one of my favorite sayings ever. I still repeat it to this day. And college football was penny wise and pound foolish. And now here you are. Don't worry. I think there'll be an answer. You'll just be a little lighter in the wallet if you choose to entertain that. Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure to leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.